Good evening, everyone. Today we bring you an in-depth look at the controversial nomination of Judge Benjamin, a judicial candidate whose record raises serious concerns about public safety. During a heated Senate hearing, it was revealed that Judge Benjamin granted bail to multiple violent offenders who went on to commit further heinous crimes, including attempted murder and using a child as a human shield. Critics argue this is yet another example of lenient policies that endanger our communities. For more on this developing story and to stay informed about the issues that matter, subscribe to Clear 2 View News on YouTube, your source for news and commentary.
Judge, congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to try to understand the facts on some of these cases.
Yes, sir.
The Albertus Lewis case. He shot his girlfriend in the head. Is that correct?
Senator, as I stated, I'm not sure if you were in here earlier, that case is still pending. He's not been convicted of any of those charges. And so I have to be really careful in how I frame my question.
Did he shoot his girlfriend in the head?
Senator, based on, those are the allegations of the charge, yes.
So you're saying he didn't shoot his girlfriend in the head?
He has not been convicted of anything, is my understanding. And I know it's a very old case. It's 2017.
Well, when you granted him bond, did you think he had shot his girlfriend in the head? He was charged with shooting his girlfriend in the head, wasn't he?
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
Those are the allegations. When he initially appeared before me,
okay,
I denied his bond based on everything.
Let me start over. Okay. Mr. Lewis was charged and arrested, so presumably there was probable cause, with shooting his girlfriend in the head and putting her body in a wheelchair and dumping her outside the hospital. Those were the allegations. Is that right?
I believe those were the allegations, yes, sir.
Okay. And you gave Mr. Lewis bond. Is that right?
No, that's incorrect, Senator. I denied his bond. When he appeared before me in July of 2017.
So you didn't give him bond? He didn't release him?
I denied his bond. It was 2 years later.
Did you ultimately release him?
2 years later, after the state violated the
Did you grant his bond? I'm just trying to understand the facts.
Yes, sir. 2 years later, after
you granted his bond.
When he initially appeared before me, I denied the bond. It was 2 years after that I granted a bond.
You did grant the bond
after the violation by the state of the court order to try his case and discovery rules.
And then he went out and tried to kill 2 sheriff's deputies while using a baby as a human shield, allegedly. Is that right?
Those are the allegations in the other case, yes.
Okay. Would he been able to do that if you hadn't let him go?
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
When he appeared before me, I denied his bond. He appeared before me again, at which point.
And you let him go?
The state violated the order of the court.
But I'm just
I set a sufficiently high bond.
You let him go. If you hadn't have let him go, then he could not have tried to kill 2 sheriff's deputies using a child as a human shield. Factually, is that correct?
I'm not sure, Senator.
Oh, I think you are. Let me ask you about Kelly Honeywell. You remember that name?
Senator, I did not have any involvement in that actual case, but I am familiar with what you're referring to.
Okay. You remember Troy Stevenson?
Yes.
All right. Troy Stevenson was arrested, allegedly, for shooting Kelly Honeywell, killing her, murdering her at a bakery. Mr. Honeywell was arrested. And Mr. Honeywell allegedly was a member of a gang. He owned guns, and he did drugs. Okay? You granted Mr. Stevenson bail. Is that right?
In that case, I did not set bail bond in that case when he was charged with murder.
You didn't let him go?
I did not set the bond on the murder charge.
Who did?
I don't know who's.
Then how did he get out of jail?
Are you asking about the murder charge?
What I'm asking, and I think you know what I'm asking, Mr. Stevenson allegedly was arrested for shooting this bakery worker in the head, and he was granted bail. He was let out. You didn't grant the bail?
No, sir.
Who did?
My understanding is his bond was denied in that case on the murder case. Mr. Stevenson, I believe, after trial, was found not guilty of those charges. But I did not set the bond on the murder case. I did not try the case on the murder case. I did not set the bond on the murder case.
Okay. I think I'm out of time. Thanks, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a serious conversation about the kind of judges being appointed to our federal courts. The video from Senator Judge Kennedy's questionnaire of Judge Benjamin is deeply troubling and should be a wake-up call for all of us who care about the safety and integrity of our communities. Judge Benjamin was questioned about Alberta Lewis, a man charged with the heinous crime of shooting his girlfriend in the head, placing her body in a wheelchair, and leaving her outside a hospital. Despite these gruesome allegations, Judge Benjamin's responses were evasive, and ultimately, she granted bond to this individual 2 years after his initial arrest. Even more disturbing is the fact that after being released, Lewis allegedly attempted to kill 2 sheriff's deputies while using a baby as a human shield. This kind of judicial leniency puts our law enforcement officers and innocent civilians at grave risk. Furthermore, Judge Benjamin's handling of the case involving Troy Stevenson, accused of murdering a bakery worker, raises additional concerns. Her unclear recollection and involvement in setting bail for such a serious charge reflect a worrying trend of judges failing to take a firm stand against violent criminals. We all should believe in law and order, and we trust our judicial system to uphold justice and protect the innocent. However, when judges like Benjamin show more concern for the rights of the accused than for the safety of our communities, we must speak out. The appointment of such judges to our federal courts threatens to undermine the very foundations of our justice system. It's time to demand accountability and ensure that those who sit on our benches are committed to upholding the law, not bending it. We must be vigilant and vocal in our opposition to any judicial appointments that prioritize political correctness over public safety. Our communities, our families, and our law enforcement officers deserve better. Let's stand together and insist on a judiciary that reflects our values and keeps us safe.
Good morning.
Good morning. There has been considerable discussion nationally about policies of Democratic district attorneys and Democratic judges releasing violent criminals who in turn turn around and commit more violent crimes and make our communities less safe. This has been a problem plaguing the country as we've seen crime rates skyrocket and murder rates skyrocket. And it is a problem that is exacerbated by the Biden administration and the Democrats in the Senate who continue to further the priorities of releasing violent criminals. When I look at your record, I see a pattern of doing the same thing. You're very familiar with the case of Albertus Lewis. Albertus Lewis allegedly shot Myra Sanchez in the head and then dumped her body in a wheelchair outside of a hospital in downtown Columbia. You granted Lewis a surety bond in the amount of $150,000. After you did so, it turned out that Lewis was involved in yet another violent incident when police responded to a domestic violence scene involving Lewis, where a woman called 911 saying Lewis had a gun and was setting things on fire. When police arrived, they had to fire almost immediately because of the danger, and they had to go in because Lewis picked up a small child and used a small child as a human shield, in the process causing injury to 2 sheriff's deputies. Do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal on bond when he went out and committed yet another violent crime?
Thank you, Senator. As I previously stated, Mr. Lewis, when he initially appeared before me, I denied his bond. It was not until after the state violated the court's order to try his case, there was issues with discovery missing in the case. And Senator, I'll just say this, the case is still pending. It's a 2017 case. It is still pending. There's issues with discovery in the case, and the defendant was asserting his right to, Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial. That was after 2 years when he initially appeared before me, and I denied his bond. In considering any bond, Senator, I consider the United States Constitution, the South Carolina Constitution, and I have to consider the bond statute of the General Assembly in South Carolina.
Okay, so you just said you did it because of a speedy trial claim. What is the remedy for a speedy trial claim?
The remedy for a speedy trial claim is dismissal.
So you didn't do that, did you?
My consideration was based on him violating the court's previous order of not trying the case. It was
By the way,
not
what's
based-
the Fourth Circuit precedent on speedy trial claims? And isn't it in fact the case that the Fourth Circuit has repeatedly held that substantially longer delays don't violate the speedy trial clause?
Well, I think there's an analysis that has to be done.
Did you engage in that analysis?
Yes, and part of that analysis is that the state has to give a reason as to why they did not try the case. And in that case, the state did not have a reason
So
whatsoever.
you said you engaged in that analysis. Did you write an opinion? Did you explain your reasoning from the bench?
I don't recall. I do not recall, but we do not usually have published opinions in South Carolina.
Well, you know, the court they've appointed you to, that's what they do. And
yes, I understand that.
so I'm going to give you a chance to answer my question again, because I started with, do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal who turned around and injured 2 sheriff's deputies and held up a little child as a human shield? Was it a mistake?
Thank you again, Senator. Once again, I consider the issues before me. I consider the Constitution of the state of South Carolina, the United States, and the bond code. And
But
I
you
made
know, that's not any
based on
comfort
that.
to the families of the sheriff's deputies who were shot by the violent criminal you released. And you have a pattern of doing so in other cases as well, including releasing one of the people involved in yet another murder of Kelly Honeywell, a 33-year-old single mother of 4 who was murdered, shot during a robbery, and you released one of the individuals involved in that. And listen, what I find amazing is the Biden administration claims they bear no responsibility for releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. But then President Biden keeps nominating judicial nominees who have a history of releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. And every Senate Democrat's going to vote to confirm you, and they're going to go home and tell their constituents, oh, we don't support releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people, and yet we keep following this pattern over and over again. There's a reason people are very concerned about the safety of their families.
Thank you for joining us today as we delve into the critical issues surrounding Judge Benjamin's controversial record. As crime rates continue to rise, it's more important than ever to scrutinize the decisions of those who hold our safety in their hands. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and make sure to subscribe to Clear 2 View News on YouTube. We bring you the truth, unfiltered and unapologetic. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.